couldn't ask for better football weather than what we have here today at Tatlock Field in Summit. It is in the 40s. It is cold but clear. The sun is out, and we are ready for high school football. I'm Paul Spahala, with me Patrick Olenek, and the stands are full here at Tatlock Field. We expect by game time a crowd of approximately 2,000 to 3,000 people for this Section 2 Group 2 championship football game. Bob Taylor walking the sidelines in his third year at Johnson Regional. 23 victories, 6 losses for him at Johnson. But when you include the years that he coached at Brearley, Bob Taylor has an impressive 123 coaching victories. Just as impressive, Ray McCran. Ray McCran is now in his second year as head coach of the Hilltoppers of Summit, where he has an 18-3 record. And Ray, for many seasons, was the head coach of the Passaic Indians.
John Jay. The G crew is Mr. Dave Weeks, Mr. Ron Arata, and Mr. Jim Monk.
All right, here we go now.
The 7 o'clock will be the official clock for today's game.
Ed Strohmeyer is our referee. He is giving the instructions to the teams.
It is tails. You have won
Johnson
the toss.
has won the toss.
All right.
I believe they
White
will defer.
has won the toss. Defer
That is
for the
correct.
second half.
Johnson will defer. Let's see if someone wants the football right away.
You must kick off. Which goal are you going to defend?
Yes, Summit wants the football.
You are defending.
Summit has elected to receive the kickoff. Johnson will kick and defend the goal.
And Johnson will kick with the wind.
Okay.
Johnson plays in the Mountain Division of the Mountain Valley Conference, and they were the MVC Mountain champions this year with a perfect 6-0 mark, knocking off Immaculata on opening night, 23-0, and in reality, that was the conference championship game. Now, Summit plays in the Watchung Conference, and Summit is a member of the National Division of the Watchung, and they also were conference champions this year as they finished their National Division run with a record of 6-2. Just on top of Rahway and Shabazz. So Summit finished 6-2 in the National Division and won the conference championship. Elizabeth and Irvington, by the way, won the American Conference. And over in the Valley Division, of the MVC, New Providence was the winner. And that takes care of all 4 divisions. Patrick, what a great feeling, championship football Saturday.
Oh, it's just what all the kids work hard for in the summer, and again, this is their state championship game, and both teams will make the most of their time out here today.
Now, remember the drought and the heat of the summer? Well, they went through that, and they went through much more to get here. Game number 11 of the season. Jose Valentin and John Brown are back deep for the Summit Hilltoppers. John Brown is explosive. Jason Hassler does the kicking for the Crusaders. And my guess is they will try, if they could, to keep it away from Brown. Brown returns kicks at an average 31 yards a return. But hey, not that Valentin does a bad job. He returns about 24 yards a kick. And the Section 2 Group 2 final is underway. A little trouble with the kick, but Brown does field it at the 16-yard line. He finds an opening. Brown has some room. Brown's got to beat the kicker. He's at the 40. He's at the 50. He's got 2 blockers with him. Hassler tries to get in his way. Can't get a hold of him. Brown still going and finally dragged down near the 10-yard line. John Brown with a 74-yard return.
Well, no surprise there. John Brown in a game against Irvington on Thanksgiving Day did the same exact thing in the second half and took one down the sidelines to the 5-yard for an 85-yard pickup. So John Brown is definitely key from that receiver spot from the kickoff position.
Let's meet the starting lineup for the Hilltoppers today. The left tackle is Fabio Montero. Alfie Critelli, one of the captains, is the left side guard. The center is Darrell Anderson. Kevin McDermott and Martin Weathers are on the right side. The backs and receivers, Lovell, Fouché, Torres, Stewart, and Mullins are the ends. And the quarterback is Steve Schroeder. Schroeder, number 15, has completed 60 of 145 passes this year. The first give is to Kawan Fouché, and Fouché will get about a pair of yards. By the way, Brown was dropped just shy of the 10, so it is a 1st and 10 situation for the Hilltoppers. There is Steve Schroeder, senior captain, has completed 60 of 145 passes, just shy of 900 yards. He has 10 touchdown tosses. Schroeder, not really a runner. He will let Fouché and Lovell do that. Here is Fouché running left with some blocking. Fouché dives for the goal line, is just short. He will be brought down at the 1, where it will be awfully close to a Summit first down. Let's meet the starting defense for Johnson. Johnson lines up in a 5-man front. Nick DeCorso, Carmine Rossetti are the ends. The tackles are Redziniak and Kryzon. Tek-Sun Kim is the nose guard. The linebackers and corner are Menzel, Hassler, and Guzovic. And 3 deep, Alefi, Adanazio, and Layden. 3rd and 1 from the 2. Power eye left. Fouché bounces into the line, stopped right at the line of scrimmage, but remember, he didn't have very far to go to get the first down. Placement will be the key here. Nick DeCorso comes up for the hits.
Yeah, that's what they need, Paul. Obviously, Johnson this year has not been tested at all, and this is definitely a gut check for them early in this ball game today.
Johnson has not allowed a point, not just in the first quarter, not just in the first half, but not through the first 3 quarters of a football game. It is 4th and less than a yard, 4th and inches from the 1. Schroeder's going to keep it himself.
He stopped, Paul.
He is not in the end zone, but he might be close enough for a first down.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be very close. And we are going to bring the chains in. Remember, Schroeder did not have to get across the goal line for a first down. This will be one of the first huge moments of this championship football game, whether it is a first down or Johnson takes over on downs.
Yeah,
hard to tell from this angle. Let's watch them stretch the chain out. It is short. So Johnson will take over just shy of the goal line. Let's meet our officiating crew for today's football game. We mentioned earlier that Ed Strohmeyer is the referee. His umpire is Dan Tripati. Warren Jameson is the head linesman. The line judge is Jeff Krasnomowitz. Mike Corcoran is the back judge, and Vince Landolfi is the clock operator. Johnson starts in the shadow of their own goal line with 9:32 left in the first quarter. They have got to be careful here. Dan Ludek brings the team to the line of scrimmage. He is the quarterback. Barks out the signals. Gives it to Menzel. Menzel might have made a yard on the play. Give the Crusaders a little more breathing room. Let's meet the starting lineup for the Johnson Crusaders, who come in at 10-0. Mike Santangelo is the left side tackle. Bill Ives is the guard. Carmine Scuderi is the center. Guzovic and Redziniak are on the right side. The backs and receivers, Alefi, Menzel, and Adanazio. Layden and DeCorso, the split end and tight end. Calling signals, the senior quarterback, number 2, Dan Ludek. This season is 65 of 100 for over 1,000 yards, 18 touchdown tosses for Dan Ludek. 2nd and 9. And Ludek looks to throw on 2nd down. Has an open man in Greg Layden. And Layden pulls it in at the 20. It is a first down for the Crusaders. Greg Layden with his 41st catch of the season. A talented senior, only 5'9", 150, but a great pair of hands. Let's meet the defense for the Summit Hilltoppers. They go with a 4-4 look. Critelli, Andrews, McDermott, and Chisholm are up front. The linebackers outside, Mullins and Lovell. Inside, Schroeder and Ballantyne. And 3 deep are Jamal Stewart, Vincent Martin, and Jose Valentin. You've met all the starters. It is 1st and 10 for the Johnson Crusaders. Adanazio in motion. Ludek throws to Adanazio, overthrows him.
Yeah, Paul, I mean, Johnson comes in today with a very balanced attack. You know, in similar years that Coach Taylor runs, mostly gears with the run. This year he's got a really phenomenal quarterback in Dan Ludek. He really brings the quick pass option to him. He's got a great read on the defense. He can do it all. Plus, at the same time, he's very good at the option, and he's just very good overall.
2nd and 10, the ball just outside the 20-yard line. Opening moments of this football game, and already we've had a lot of excitement. Great return by John Brown and a great goal line stand by Johnson. Here's Alefi with a big hole to the right side, still on his feet, and finally dragged down by Chuck Mullins, but not until he gains 15 yards and another Johnson first down. Joe Alefi, a senior, comes into the game with 359 rushing yards and 4 scores.
And look at Joe Alefi, going to get the ball. It's a power. He's just going to fire up with a dive to the 5 hole, and he's going to take it all the way up and just find some room and keep fighting up that field.
Well, you saw on the replay there, Critelli was so concerned with Ludek coming outside that he never went inside to get Alefi.
That is definitely one of the keys that Johnson's going to gear for, if they're going to read dive or not.
From the 35, Menzel, fumble, recovered by the Hilltoppers. Jamal Stewart at the bottom of the pile, and Summit has the ball at the 41.
At that time, it looked like Alfie Critelli was just reading dive, and he certainly got a dive from Frank Menzel on that one. Here we look at it. There you go, Alfie Critelli, you can see it. He's reading dive all the way. He pops it out of there. Frank Menzel just lets it go, and there's Summit pouncing on it.
For Jamal Stewart, his first fumble recovery of the year. Menzel back on defense now after the turnover. It's 1st and 10 for the Hilltoppers. Fouché running right. First man missed him. Stiff arms the second man. But Guzovich tracked him down from behind. Also on that Summit bulletin board, Patrick, the Johnson defense was drawn up. And next to the 2 linebackers, Guzovich and Menzel, it just said outstanding.
Yeah,
no doubt about that.
No doubt about it. I mean, Dan Guzovich comes in here at 6'3", 220 pounds. He's a senior, but he's got a great read capability. He reads the dive, he reads everything well, and rightfully so, made the play there.
Summit 11 sectional championships. And 5 of those titles have come in the playoff format, which started in 1974. 2nd and 10, Schroeder, the lefty, looking to throw. Airs it out left side, incomplete, intended for Stewart. Good coverage by Greg Layden.
Yeah, Greg Layden had that one sniffed out very well. They knew Schroeder was dropping back, so there's Greg Layden. But
I'll tell you, tough to throw at Layden. He's got 6 interceptions this year already.
He's very good. Here we go. Steve Schroeder going to be passing. There's Greg Layden. He sneezes it and just snaps it out of there.
Good contact by Layden.
Again, it's a
great
concern.
timing.
That's a concern for Johnson, is the deep throw from Schroeder, and that's a concern.
Well, they look like they're going to work on Layden, who, again, is only 5'9", 150, but a world of speed and great hands.
Yeah.
3rd and a little over 10. Schroeder, the lefty, again looking to throw, looking for Torres across the middle. Redziniak has a shot at him. Schroeder will throw to Fouché, who loses the ball and then takes a big hit from Frank Menzel.
Oh, Frank Menzel got him good there. He was going to make sure he wasn't catching that ball. But, again, this is from Johnson's standpoint. I mean, Redziniak was in there getting some pressure. Here comes Redziniak going to be busting through, going to apply the pressure to Schroeder. Schroeder's forced out of the pocket. He fights. He runs into his own man. He's going to just lap it out to the screen for the screen pass. And here's Frank Menzel with the big hit. Big hit there.
Steve Schroeder, as we said in the open, does all the kicking duty for Summit. He'll be kicking into a very stiff wind. And you could see the effect on his kick immediately. Even though it was a line drive kick, immediately the wind knocked it down, forced it out at about the 30-yard line. So that's where Johnson will start their second possession.
Yeah. It's a good 35-mile-an-hour wind going down in that end zone down there to the right.
For Johnson Regional, since the playoffs have started, in 1977 they lost in the opening round to Parsippany. In 87, in a 6-team draw, they beat Hackettstown, but then lost in triple overtime to Caldwell. In 91, they lost to Brearley. In 94, last year, they lost by 1 point to Jefferson. Ludek looking to throw, looks left. For Layden, slapped away by Stewart. Patrick, I think we're in for a great 2-way battle today. Stewart and Layden look like they're going to cover each other offense, defense.
Yeah, they're going to get to know each other through the next 2 hours, and it's going to be a good battle in there. We're going to look at Dan Ludek dropping back, going to see looking for Greg Layden, his premier receiver. Jamel Stewart's just going to be right on top of him, step by step. He had him.
Yeah, perfect coverage by Stewart, who has 3 interceptions.
Well, there's no secret on what Johnson or Summer's going to do for that matter.
Stewart had a huge game against West Essex in the state semis, 10 solo tackles. Ludek gives it to Alefi. Alefi through the opening hole. He's got 20 yards, 22, and a first down. And for the first time today, we're going to be playing this football game in Summit territory.
There's Joe Alefi. Yeah, that was just this we're going to look at here's Joe Leffy with the power dive to the. They're just going to keep fighting outfield. Big hole in there, big hole. And they're just going to keep fighting outfield.
And he's going to get an extra 5 yards after he's wrapped up by Mullins. So we are in Summit territory for the first time today. The ball rests at the 8-yard line. Joe Aleffi, 2 carries already for 38 yards. Ludek has it. Pitches it out to Aleffi. And Aleffi is upended hard by Valentin, but a gain of 8 on the play. And a beautiful fake by Dan Ludek. That is what makes him so dangerous. Faked it to Menzel, then you have to cover him on the run, and then, of course, he just pitches it out to Aleffi.
This is what he brings to the Johnson offense. I mean, he's got versatility. There's Dan Ludek going to be just faking the handoff, and everyone thinks it's Menzel's got the ball, but Ludek still has it. He's just going to pitch it out to Joe Aleffi, who's just going to take it down the sideline.
Now watch this hit by Valentin at the end of the play.
An interesting point, too, Paul. Johnson, Dan Ludek also brings versatility to the offense, but what he brings is a veer capability, which they talk about where it's something you don't know what's going to be called in the huddle. It's just an idea that they throw, but it's up to Ludek to get the read from the defense deciding whether or not he's going to keep the ball or he's going to tuck it in and take it down himself.
By the way, the injured player is Darnell Andrews for Summit, the senior defensive tackle. And I guess, Patrick, going to the point you were making, they put a lot of responsibility on Dan Ludek, and they obviously have a lot of confidence in him.
There's no question. I mean, Dan Ludek is the offense. He's the commander-in-chief of that offense, and he runs it, and that's his ship, and he does a good job in there.
Martin Weathers replaces Andrews, so Weathers is now in at defensive tackle for Summit. 2nd and 8 for the Crusaders. Here in the first quarter, scoreless football game. Fake to Aleffi. Ludek, bootleg right. Aleffi chasing him, throws on the run, almost picked off by Vincent Martin. Good coverage by the free safety, came up for the ball, knocked it away from the intended receiver.
Vincent Martin had this one here. We're going to look at Dan Ludek, going to be rolling out right. He's pressured out of the pocket. A little bit of pressure here from number 53, Alfie Critelli. There's Dan Ludek going to throw it up, and here comes Vincent Martin with the almost picked off. Good effort by Vincent Martin on that one.
3rd and 2, near the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Scoreless football game, that due to the Johnson defense. The give to Menzel, and he looks like he has 2 yards, and he will be awfully close to the first down. He's just across the 40. He needed to get to the 39. I'm going to look at it and say he's short by about the length of the football. We're going to get a measurement, but I believe that Menzel is short, and that will make it decision time for Bob Taylor.
Well, Coach Taylor's got a lot of confidence in Frank Menzel and the host of offensive line he's got there, so I'm sure he'll go for it if he's got the opportunity. Yeah, he's a fighter, he's a gambler, he goes for everything.
Well, let's see if he has to gamble here. We'll stretch the chains out.
Yeah, just short.
And it is going to be short by about the length of the football. Confidence time for your offense. If Bob Taylor says stay out there, we're going, and that's exactly what he has said.
And vice versa for Summit. This is a confidence builder for the defensive side of the ball as well.
Bob Taylor's made the call. It's 4th and inches. Will Ludek keep it? Ludek checks the defense. Gives to Menzel. And Menzel should and does have enough for first down yardage. Frank Menzel.
Yeah, he has forward movement there.
Came into the game with 547 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. And that in only really 7 half games. The other 3 games he played the full game, but for the most part Johnson has been comfortably in front at the halftime of most games, and Frank Menzel has rested on offense.
Yeah, and his stats could be probably double that.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's the 5th leading scorer with a chance to finish on top with at least 8 points today. Ludek, quick toss right for Layden. Layden covered by Mullins. And Layden fights his way forward. One of the things I'm sure that Dan Ludek is looking for, Patrick, is if you get a coverage of Layden on a lineman or a linebacker, he's going to go to Layden.
Oh, there's no question. I think one of the keys here, there's a big cushion that Summit's giving up here to Layden because they're more gearing towards the option. And you saw the cushion there from number 95, but there's Greg Layden just going to pull it in for a 10-yard pickup. And you can't give Greg Layden any more than a 3-step drop.
Yeah, exactly. Stewart was not playing him face-to-face, and Ludek saw that and threw for the ball. It's a first down, by the way, as we mark it to the 35. Completion of 13 yards. Menzel up the middle. I'm sorry, that's Alefi again. Well, I tell you, Joe Alefi is having a big first half as he gets 5 yards to the 21.
I mean, at the same time, I mean, something's got to be gearing on Menzel, being at the size of Menzel that he is, of Menzel. But Joe Alefi is one of those hidden secrets that Johnson throws at you. And so far, we've seen a great performance by Joe Alefi.
2nd and 5 for Johnson. We are at the 3:25 mark of the first quarter. Scoreless football game. Fake to Menzel. Ludek's going to keep it. A huge hole on the left side. Cuts it back into the middle. He's knocked down at the 7. Huge opening to the left side. Dan Ludek read it and went.
He certainly did. He had an option, and whatever he wanted to do, it was Dan's decision, and he made a great decision there. But again, that was set up from a great fake.
County scoring leaders heading into this final weekend. There you see Frank Menzel is 5th with 90 points. Ferguson is done, Spotwood is done, Walsh and Galicchio are done. So it is up to Menzel to win it or have Corey Ferguson win it. 1st and goal from the 7. And we've got whistles before the snap.
Yeah, somebody jumped in there. Yeah, you can hear Dan Ludek all the way up here in the booth.
And it's against Summit. The encroachment will move it just to the 3.5-3-yard line.
I think we can credit that offsides to Dan Ludek on that one, how he barks his calls in there. At the same time.
1st and goal from the 3. Brian Renda split out way left. Atanasio way right. The give to Menzel. Menzel still fighting forward. He's got the touchdown. Frank Menzel with his 15th touchdown of the season.
There's nothing special there. Just power it with Frank Menzel to the right side behind your big gun of Ray Rosiniak and Dan Guzovich. And there's your touchdown.
Frank Menzel, his 15th score of the year. And with those points, he is now tied for 2nd in Union County scoring, hoping, of course, to win the county crown. Jason Hassler will attempt the extra point. Placement is there, and the kick is no good. It sails off to the right, and the score will stay Johnson 6, Summit nothing. A 70-yard drive by the Johnson Crusaders. And they lead the Section 2 Group 2 championship game 6-0.
And they're in a familiar position because they're on top so far. So they're in what they've known from day one this year.
Exactly. They have never trailed all season long.
And Summit had him on the edge down there in the opening moments of this ball game, and Johnson held tough. But hey, there's a lot of game left, Paul.
No doubt about it. But they are just minutes away from having gone unbeaten, untied, and unscored upon, and it has been decades since that has been done in New Jersey.
I'm sure they're not worried about that yet.
Exactly. But 6-0 is what they're happy about right now, as Bob Taylor and the Crusaders have the early lead.
And I'm sure they're going to try to keep it away from John Brown because he's got a lot of explosive capability down there.
Now they are set up on the near hash mark, and so is Brown. Let's see what Hassler does with this kick. He drills it deep, and it will go through the goal line. It will be a touchback.
Yeah, they want to keep that away from John Brown on that one. And credit that one to Jason Hassler.
A 70-yard scoring drive and 11 plays for the Johnson Crusaders, and Frank Menzel capped it off with his 15th touchdown run of the season. Placement was no good, and that's why it is right now Johnson 6, Summit nothing.
Well, I'm sure that Summit really wants to have Steve Schroeder get the ball downfield and start throwing it long to spread this defense.
2:32 left in the first quarter. Peter Torres in motion for the Hilltoppers. They give to Fouché. Fouché running right, big hole, and he'll carry it out to the 25-yard line. A gain of 5 on first down for Kawan Fouché. Fouché came into the game with 640 rushing yards, an average of 4.3 yards a carry. Came into the game with 10 touchdowns, including a big 4 TD day against the Westfield Blue Devils. Kawan Fouché, 5'9", senior tailback. 2nd and 5. Exactly 2 minutes left in the first quarter. I'm Paul Spahala, with me Patrick Olenek. Torres in motion. Fouché running right. Stop there and drop there.
Yeah, he was met by a whole host of players, including Nick DeCorso and Ray Reziniak in on a stop on that one. Again, I mean, you got to give credit a lot of credit here. They're going towards the big guns for Johnson, trying to set the tone on their own side. You know, they're saying, hey, come and get me, Reziniak. Come and get me, DeCorso. And, oh.
Third and 6. Blitz is on. Schroeder steps up through the pocket, dives forward, loses the football, recovered by Summit. Well, we've got, yes, Summit recovers. Chuck Mullins on the recovery, and it will be a Hilltopper first down. Schroeder was short of a first down where he was stopped, but then the ball popped free, and luckily for the Hilltoppers, Chuck Mullins keenly picked up the football.
Here we're going to look at the Johnson defense getting great penetration in there on a blitz. Steve Schroeder just going to do what he can. There's the pop from Guzovic. There's the ball free and loose, and here comes the pickup. Well, first down, no matter how you do it, you do it.
First down of the ball game for the Hilltoppers. Steve Schroeder, an outstanding baseball pitcher also for the Hilltoppers. Pitches it to Fouché. Fouché running left this time. Has Lovell as a blocker. Gets near the 40-yard line. As a matter of fact, he's across the 40 to the 41. So a 6-yard pickup for Kawan Fouché, and watch the good lead blocking of senior Jeff Lovell.
Well, here we go. We're going to see. Here we go. Just Jeff Lovell going to be blocking here, and there's Kawan Fouché going to be just taking it, bringing it down the field.
The smart thing that Lovell did, and you saw it on that replay, he just interfered enough with the first man and then realized that, hey, if Fouché, if he's on the right angle, doesn't need me to crunch this guy, let me go for the next guy. So
Absolutely.
Good heads-up blocking by Jeff Lovell. 2nd and 4. Fouché on the delay, running right, trying to get behind Critelli. Has first down yardage, dives towards midfield. He's got a gain of 9 and a first down for Summit. 30 seconds left in the first quarter.
Yeah, it was just a simple delay, and Kawan Fouché just took that for the first down.
Just shy of the midfield stripe.
Again, this is what Summit has to do. They got to keep just gearing at Johnson, just keep going after him. And again, Johnson hasn't been tested all season, so it's really good for Summit to keep play in and play out and just keep going at him hard.
Kawan averaging 4 yards a carry this season, comes into right now in this game 8 carries for 29 yards. Boy, he's been a workhorse already with 8 carries. First down, just shy of the 50. Fouché, carry number 9. Boy, Reziniak stands him up after he got 1. Ray Reziniak, 6'4", 260-pound senior, one of the highly recruited players in the state of New Jersey. That will do it for the first quarter of play in the Section 2 Group 2 championship game. All we're going to do is just turn it around. We're not even going to move the football with the score. Johnson 6, Summit nothing. We'll be right back.
When you're looking to buy a new Jeep, experience the difference at Warnock Jeep Eagle. The difference in selection, the difference in service, the difference in price, and the difference our car buyer's review can make. It gives you the inside track on all of our Jeep models and Warnock Automotive's entire line. Just call 1-800-WARNOCK for your free copy, and soon you'll be saying, at Warnock Jeep Eagle, there really is a difference.
Nothing significant yet.
Very balanced.
Did you get that, Steve? Summit cheerleaders enjoying this cool but crisp and sunny day here in Union County. We said that these are two Union County towns, very close to each other, but they only met once before on the playing field. That was back in 1958 in the rain at Memorial Field. That's where Summit used to play. And why will we have a different score today? Well, we already do, because that day it was scoreless. They went home with a 0-0 tie. Early in Howie Anderson's coaching career at Summit. Through the first quarter of play, here are the statistics in the ball game. Rushing easily favoring Johnson, and also the passing yardage. Johnson with 6 first downs to Summit's 2. Big advantage in total yards, 99-yard advantage, and the lone penalty went against Summit, and that aided the touchdown. The one turnover, of course, belongs to Johnson. 2nd down and 9. Fake to Lovell. Pitch to Brown. Brown now in the backfield. He will only get a yard on the play. Little mix-up in the backfield between Schroeder and Lovell that slowed the play down. Third and 8. Summit will now, of course, have the wind for quarter number 2, and it is a very stiff breeze blowing from left to right.
Yeah, that'll help out Steve Schroeder very, very much.
And also might influence the factor here if they don't make a first down on this 3rd and 8. Schroeder looking left, looking for Stewart to set up the screen. It's thrown low, it's incomplete. And now at midfield with the wind, I'm sure Ray McCran will choose to punt the ball away.
Yeah, he's got a great kicker in Schroeder. I seen him against Irvington last week from this same exact position. No, kick one down to the 3-yard line. It must have been a 65-yard punt.
And of course, he will be aiming for inside the 10. His first kick, of course, knocked down by the wind. This one should have the benefit of the wind. Chuck Mullins is the long snapper. Gets a good snap back to Schroeder, who hangs up a good kick. Layden going back. Layden fields it at the 12 and is immediately brought down by Jamal Stewart. So Johnson will start at their own 11.
Well, you said it, Paul. Jamal Stewart and Greg Layden will get to know each other today, and on that one, they certainly knew each other. That was a big hit by Jamal Stewart. And of course, that was set up by a floating kick by Schroeder to allow his teammates to get down there.
Dan Ludek, the last man on the field for the 10-0 Johnson Crusaders, ranked number 16 in the Star Ledger Top 10 poll. Johnson, before the playoffs began, won the Section 2 Group 3 championship in 1969 and 1970. Fake by Ludek. That is when the old Colleton system awarded the state champions. It was similar to the PowerPoint system in use today to determine the playoff teams, but the Colleton system used to determine state champions prior to 1974. Again, there were some complaints about it, that this championship should be decided on the field. That's how the playoffs began 21 years ago.
Yeah, it makes things much more interesting too, Paul.
And of course, in the early rounds, or early years of the playoffs, only 2 teams made it into the playoffs. Ludek looking right, tosses for Layden. Layden again covered by Mullins, and this time Mullins drags him down and will actually lose 2 yards on the play. So it will be 3rd and 8 coming up for the Crusaders.
Yeah, that time Chuck Mullins, saw it coming. He had a little bit less of a cushion this time. Dan Ludek going to be just passing out to Greg Layden, and Chuck Mullins has this one sniffed out.
Mullins, a 6-foot-tall senior with a sure tackle, and also Steve Schroeder coming on to finish up the play. Chuck with 1 interception so far this season. 3rd and 8 for the Crusaders. On the delay, the give to Alefi. Alefi spins forward and might have first down yardage.
That was some play, Paul. Dan Ludek did a spin move in there and then came around and handed it off to Joe Alefi.
And it is a first down. Take a look at it on the replay.
Yeah, look at going to be faking the pass out here, just going to turn around, and there's the counter play, a delayed counter for Joe Alefi, just straight up the middle. Man, what a great play call there.
8 yards and a first down for Joe Aleffi. And just as Fouché has carried the bulk of the load for Summit, Joe Aleffi has been the workhorse today for the Johnson Crusaders. Movement on the Johnson backfield. Aleffi gets the call, but Frank Menzel reared up before the snap.
Yeah. Well, he knew it. He knew it before the flag was thrown, and that's all right. He'll go back to the huddle and regroup now. Interesting too, Paul. I mean, Summit, what they do defensively is they eagle down their guard towards the tight end side, so that's another little bit of a hole in the middle that Johnson just may want to go after.
All right, help those of us who didn't make it to the varsity team. What do you mean when you say they eagle down?
Well, what they do is they come down to the tight end side. They're in the gap between the guard and the tackle. You know, we're creating a little bit more room inside, you know, which may be a little bit more of a hole for the Johnson front to go after, you know, using a little bit more counter plays and thereabouts.
Thank you very much. I know when I hired you today, I didn't think I have to hire an interpreter for you, but thank you for explaining the terms.
I hope that makes sense, Paul.
You did an excellent job of
sometimes
explaining.
I get confused myself.
Well, of course, football, a very term-oriented game, which makes it so much fun, especially when you're playing in December.
That's right. It's a
Menzel
game
for about 5.
It's a game of geometry. Well, Frank Menzel got back to 5 yards. He gave up on it offsides.
Yeah, it's always nice to do that.
Yeah.
It'll be 2nd and 10.
Again, Paul, also, I happened to be walking by and I saw a scout from Clemson here today, here to recruit Frank Menzel, as well as a look at Ray Reziniak. They're very high on both of these kids.
Menzel, 6 carries already. He has the only points in the football game, his 4-yard touchdown run. Layden comes in close. Again, he is tightly marked by Jamal Stewart. Ludak going to air it out long for Layden, who almost gets it on the dive. What an effort by Greg Layden. The senior dove everything of his 5'9" frame, but just couldn't haul it in.
This is just a timing pattern. Dan Ludak is just going to be flowing it up, but he knows where his receiver's going to be through practice and execution. It's right on his fingertips. What a great play, but just on the fingertips. And that's just a timing pattern, Paul.
Well, we saw Greg Layden a couple weeks ago in the rain at Nolan Field against Roselle Park make a great diving catch. What a talented receiver. Some team is going to be very happy to take him, and if they overlook that 5'9", 150, they're going to end up with a very good receiver.
That's for sure.
Ludak keeps it himself, big opening, dives for the first down. Valentin knocks him off his feet, but it is a first down, a gain of 9 on the play for Dan Ludak.
Again, there we saw Dan Ludak able to do whatever he wants to do with the ball. Probably a veer called in the huddle. Dan Ludak kept it himself on that one.
Ludak came into today's game with 10 rushing touchdowns, over 500 rushing yards. So remember, he's thrown for 18 touchdowns, and he's rushed for 10.
Yeah, he's the total package, Paul.
Had a 3-touchdown combination game against Central on Thanksgiving Day. Ran for 2, threw for 1. Fakes the toss, again that little delay, spin, handoff to Aleffi. Aleffi's got 10, he's got 15, to the outside, 20, 25 yards for Joe Aleffi. So they went back to the well on a very successful play, and it works again.
Again, we've seen this play just a few series ago. Dan Ludak going to make this happen himself. He's going to fake the play, spin around, the delay. There's Joe Aleffi with the handoff, and Summit is just leaves a big hole in there for Joe Aleffi to navigate, and he navigates for some 30 yards upfield.
Finally brought down by Colin Ballantyne at the 40, the Summit 40-yard line. Joe Aleffi, a great first half for him. Summit defense now has to tighten up. Aleffi again, 10 yards. He's got another first down. Valentin knocks him off his feet. That might have been a little premature there. Let's call it 9 yards and a second down coming up for the Crusaders.
Well, again, here we're going to look at it. Joe Aleffi with a quick handoff up the middle again, exploiting that hole that Summit's allowing. And there's Joe Aleffi down the sideline for a pickup.
That play was quick.
Yeah, very quick off the ball. You know, same time, too, Paul. We're looking at Dan Ludak from here, and he's down. He's very down in the crouch, and it's very hard to pick him up when he gets the snap.
especially hiding behind Carmen Scuderi. Scuderi only 5'4", 180.
Yeah, but he's a fire plug in there. He's very good as well.
Ludek rolls to his right, throws, completes it to DeCorso. DeCorso inside the 10, inside the 5, finally dragged down by Valentin at the 2. Nick DeCorso with 7 receptions this season, and the 6'1" senior hauls it in, marches it to the 2.
Again, this is all set up by a great fake by Dan Ludek. Dan Ludek sets the fake up to Nick DeCorso. Nick DeCorso's wide open up the middle. Just a great fake, and there's Dan Ludek going to be just tossing this right over the middle to his tight end, and Nick DeCorso. Again, Summit's got to regroup here. I mean, a lot of time left in this ballgame, only down by 6, but this is really do or die time here. This is a crucial point in this ballgame.
Johnson has called a timeout with 6:14 left in the first half. They lead 6-0. And Patrick, what you said is certainly true. Mm-hmm. Now, some people might be saying, boy, 12-0 wouldn't be that hard to come back from. But remember, Johnson's only given up 18 points all year.
Yep, and of which they've only allowed him in the fourth quarter. So if they plan on scoring these points in the fourth quarter, it just may be over.
This is the first appearance ever for Johnson in a state football final. The only other time they won an opening round game was in that 6-team draw where they lost to Caldwell in the semis. So for the first time ever, Johnson is playing in the state football final. And right now they are winning. And
again, Paul, we talk about experience and what it means, but when you've played 10 games so far, either side, it really doesn't matter all that much because it comes down to one game. Talk about experience. Last year, Johnson was in the playoffs against Jefferson. They may have lost, but they gained a lot of experience from that moment. As well as Summit, they've been here 4 finals in a row. But it comes down to doing it on the field for the 48 minutes you're given.
And right now, Johnson is doing it, and I think everybody is going to look back to that first minute of this football game where Summit had a chance to get a first down at the half-yard line, but Johnson denied them. From the 2, Menzel, he's got the touchdown, and he is now the leading scorer for the season in Union County. And will finish that way.
That's what they call a 44 dive from this offense that they throw at you. Just a straight-up play from Frank Menzel to follow his big guys in there, Guzovic and Reziniak. Here's a straight-up dive play to Frank Menzel, who's going to follow the big guys in there, and there's the touchdown. Just basic football coming at you.
Frank Menzel, 2 touchdowns, 22 yards in 7 carries. They're going to go for the 2 to get back the missed extra point. Ludek keeps it, and he's got the conversion. 14-0, Johnson leads.
We look at Summit coming off this field. They got to keep their heads up, Paul. I mean, they got a half of football left, and they're coming off a little dejected, it seems. Again, they got to realize there's a lot of game left.
89-yard scoring drive for Johnson. It carried 9 plays. Menzel scoring his 2nd touchdown from 2 yards out. Ludek running the conversion. Johnson 14, Summit nothing. That Johnson drive, 4 minutes and 58 seconds.
But executed very well, though. Very precision offense in there.
And they ate up most of the second quarter. There was only 6 minutes and 10 seconds to go. So they ate up half of the second quarter with that drive.
And again, a part of Johnson's plan is to keep Steve Schroeder off the field offensively because they're really scared of his arm. And they're doing a good job so far by keeping the balls themselves.
Yeah, good point. They are concerned that Summit can go deep, but you can't throw deep if you don't have the football.
That's right.
And Johnson ate up 5 minutes of the clock with that drive. Jason Hassler will kick it away. But this time he is kicking into the wind. And the wind blows the ball off the tee.
Yeah, Paul, before the game, I seen Coach Pat St-Pierre, who's here, the New Jersey State Guru kicker coach. He's here in attendance today to cheer on one of his mentees, I guess you call him, is Jason Hassler.
Floating kick into the wind. Valentin fields it at the 17. He's across the 25 and fights his way just across the 30-yard line. So that is where Summit will start from, trailing by 14. Matter of fact, you were once one of Pat St-Pierre's students. Am I correct?
Yes, I was. Coach St-Pierre taught me well, and Now I'm a retired kicker, if you will.
But you're using some of those techniques that he taught you out on the golf course.
Oh, yeah, that I am. Keep your head down and follow through. That's all you got to know.
And aim through the goalposts.
That's right.
1st and 10, just across the 30-yard line. Pressure on Summit here. They don't need to score, but they do need to show that they can move the football. Out of the I formation, fake to Lovell. Forced from the pocket. Thrown on the run. Incomplete. Mullins hit by Alefi.
Great coverage.
Beautiful timing.
That was great timing by Joe Alefi again. This man's been all over the field so far in his half. Joe Alefi had that one sniffed out. He had it timed just perfectly. We're going to look at it here. We got Steve Schroeder going to be rolling out of the pocket, forced out by Kryzon. He's going to force him out. There's the rollout. There's the pass. And here comes the big hit by Alefi just at the crucial moment. Of course, we've got some Summit fans up here a little annoyed at that call, but it was timed just perfectly.
Gunther Kryzon, a junior defensive tackle, putting the pressure on to Schroeder. This is the 12th time that Summit has been in the playoffs since the playoff format started. 8th time in the final, and the 4th in a row. Fouché, pitch left. And Fouché will get 5 yards. 12 times in the finals in 21 years for Summit. That is an impressive record.
Especially that they're playing at a Watchung Conference. It's deemed one of the better conferences, if not the elite conference in the state of New Jersey.
But a good point, because this is their last year in the Watchung Conference. They are moving into the Hills Division of the Iron Hills Conference next year. They will join West Essex, Mendham, Morris Hills, Dover, Mount Olive, Boonton, Parsippany Hills, and Hanover Park to complete a perfect 10-team conference. And that will again be the Hills Division of the Iron Hills Conference. Kawan Fouché, 10 carries already, 34 yards. 3rd down. Showing blitz. Schroeder airs it out for Torres, who just can't bring it in.
Yeah, they had Pete Torres wide open out here. They left him unattended, and almost had a reception here. We're going to look at it here. Steve Schroeder going to be just dropping back. He knows what he's doing. You see Pete Torres going to have a huge cushion out here on this left side of this field. There's Pete Torres just over his fingertips. But then again, there's Joe Alefi sniffing it out again.
Had 2 shots at it, just couldn't come down with it. So Schroeder will again punt with the aid of the wind. 4:44 to go in the first half. This will be his 3rd punt of the afternoon.
With the wind again.
Floats the kick into the breeze. Fair catch called for and made by Layden at the 35.
Lee Johnson ball, 1st and 10 from their 35-yard line.
Well, we're going to see if Summit tightens down their gaps inside on their offensive line and try to at least close up some of the big hole they leave in the middle that Johnson's been going after. And then Johnson's game plan is to try to eat as much of this clock off as possible.
Good look at the home crowd here at Tatlock Field. The last game of the season, 7th home game this year for Summit. Ludek keeps the ball, knocked off his feet at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, this is a great facility to play football at. Beautiful surroundings.
I got to tell you, great effort done by the maintenance crew, Dave and all the fellows at the involved in the Board of Recreation staff. Remember that on Tuesday, they had 4 inches of snow up on this field. It took about 6 hours to backhoe it off, blow it off. This field is in excellent condition considering the weather of the past week.
Well, it's definitely a fast track for both clubs. It's in good shape and good footing down there.
There you see the residue of the snow well off to the sidelines. Again, that quick hit for Alefi. This time knocked off his feet after a gain of 1. Luckily, the rain or snow that was forecasted for Thursday night never came.
Yep.
That would have been difficult to get rid of in just 48 hours, but this field is in outstanding playing condition.
Absolutely.
Considering the snow of just 4 days ago.
I had a chance to walk this field before the game, and it's a little soft in the middle, but on the outside, it's really a fast track. And Heard one of the coaches from Johnson say it's really the fastest track they've seen all year.
Temperatures in the mid-40s, a cool but comfortable day for this championship game. 3rd and 8 for the Crusaders. Ludek looking to throw. Plenty of time in the pocket, intercepted by Schroeder. Schroeder with the interception. He returns it about 3 yards. And Summit takes over with 3:08 left in the half for Steve Schroeder, his second interception of the season.
Again, this is what Summit needs at this very crucial moment in this ball game, and who better than to do it but Steve Schroeder. Dan Ludek dropping back. He's got he sees it, but Steve Schroeder just right in on that, right in his hands. And Steve Schroeder, the captain, and rightfully so, to make something happen at this crucial moment.
And for the first time today, the Summit Cannon gets a chance to roar on the interception. 3:08 left in the half.
Up, little flea flicker.
Schroeder looking to throw, looking long. Layden on the coverage, completed at the 3.
Fumbled.
Touchdown, he made it into the end zone. Touchdown. Kevin Schmidt on the receiving end of the 42-yard touchdown pass.
Well, there we saw Steve Schroeder's arm on that one, and he heaved it up there, and there's a touchdown. Again, they had this play against West Essex. They opened the ball game up 2 weeks ago. Here we go, the flea flicker. Out of the Pittsburgh Steeler repertoire. Here's the pass. There's a great pass, and just over Greg Layden's hands to
Kevin Schmidt had crossed the goal line when it was knocked free of the football, but he had broken the plane.
He was in there.
It's 14-6 with 2:59 left in the half.
It's a major turnaround of events, Paul.
Huge turn of events with the Schroeder interception and then the 42-yard touchdown pass. The placement blocked. So the score will stay Johnson 14, Summit 6.
You know, Paul, I mean, you talk about crucial moments. You know, at the same time, Johnson has, we said it from the onset, has not been tested emotionally, you know, with having someone score on him except for late in the ball game when the game was over. You know, again, this is a 4-2 check for them. They got to really go back and find their guts. I'm sure Coach Taylor at halftime and the coach will be on them to maintain their drive and what they're doing. But again, Summit has cracked them early in this ball game, and it could change things around.
One play, 42 yards, 9 seconds. Schroeder to Schmidt.
That's how you want to write your offensive screens every day.
And they are looking at the hand of Steve Schroeder. That is his right hand that they are taping up.
It's not his throwing hand.
Schroeder will kick off for Summit.
Might have a little cracked skin because of the cold weather.
That's right. Yeah, one play, 42 yards. That's pretty good, Paul. That's how you're supposed to do your offense, I guess. Makes for a quick ball game.
Schroeder makes his way back out onto the field to do the kicking. 14-6.
Well, I'm sure Steve Schroeder will be very tired tonight.
As he usually is, out on the field for almost every play.
Well, I'm sure he's got the all these scouts are looking after him as well. Of course, he's got different options. He can go baseball, he can go football. He's a multi-talented athlete. And as we said, a Clemson scout is here for football, and I'm sure he'll be very impressed with him as well.
All right, Schroeder will kick it away. It's a short kick, fielded by Layden at the 15. Layden hit at the 25, still going across the 40, fumble.
Well, let's see who gets it.
There's about 15 bodies on the ball, so the refs will start to peel them off one at a time.
It could go either way. We'll know in a moment.
And it is Johnson football.
That was a big play there for Johnson to get that ball back.
Johnson will start at their own 42. Less than 3 minutes to go in the first half. Johnson this season, 416 points scored, only 24 allowed, and the 6 they just gave up, the first they've ever allowed in the first half. Matter of fact, 6 is all they've given up in the other 3 games in which they were scored upon.
Maybe that's their lucky number.
Teams don't convert well against them. Ludek with the run, and he's into Summit territory.
Again, at that time we saw Dan Ludek. You've seen Joe Chisholm really read dive play only reading dive play, and Dan Ludak kept it himself. That's one of the areas that you can look at that may be a concern for Summit to look at, not to read dive play as much. You know, again, it leaves a huge field open for Dan Ludak to take it and take it down the field.
2:12 to go. Ludak with already 43 rushing yards here in the first half. Spin move given to Alefi. Alefi knocked off his feet. That was Weathers who tripped them up at the line of scrimmage. He'll get 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Crusaders. Under 2 minutes to go in the first half.
I'm sure Johnson wants to score one before the half.
14-6 to score. Section 2, Group 2 championship game. Fake to Menzel. Ludak hit, fumble. And it is Summit football. Alfie Critelli at the bottom of the pile has the ball at the Summit 48. Alfie Critelli comes up with the ball, but let's see who applied the hit.
Well, Alfie Critelli, one of the captains for Summit. They were going to look at it. We're going to see a big hit from the end position here. I can't see the number there, but there's the ball popping loose. Like number 75, Cole.
Steve Evans is the name on my roster. Evans with the hit. 3rd turnover.
Big play. Here we go. Steve Schroeder passing out again.
Tipped
up in the air.
Incomplete. Tipped up in the air. Navarro dove for it, looking for the interception. 3 Johnson turnovers, and that certainly is something they do not do on a regular basis.
Something they have not done all year. I mean, Steve Schroeder is now spreading the defense, if you will. And again, it's important for the defensive line to step up and get some penetration in Steve Schroeder, because if you give him some time, as we've seen in that last 42-yard throw, he can throw it down there.
1 minute, 3 seconds left in the first half. Torres in motion, far side of the field. The give to Lovell, and Lovell wrapped up. Gain of 7 on the play.
Yeah, they caught Johnson off guard on that one.
And Summit will use their first timeout of the half.
Jeff Lovell could have took that one down.
Johnson took an early 14-0 lead. Summit came back to make it 14-6. Coming up this Monday night on Time In, well, two of the men who are down on the field will be my guests. Bob Taylor and Ray McCran will be my guests, along with Rich Marchese. He and the South River Rams are fighting for the Central Group 1 title today against Highland Park. And also Ed Labita from Montclair. His team is taking on Morris Knowles tonight in Giant Stadium. All 4 of those coaches will be my guests as we wrap up the high school football season. We'll have some losers, we'll have some winners. That we know, because of course we're going to have at least 1-1 here today.
Guess we're guaranteed.
Guaranteed a little bit.
Yeah, I hope maybe we'll see a little bit of excitement, overtime excitement here today, to use the new rule in high school football.
A rule which I think was very successful.
Yeah, we're looking back. A lot of coaches are very happy that they went with that procedure.
Of course, this year overtime would start from the 25-yard line. In the past, it had started at the 10.
Mm-hmm.
55 seconds to go in the first half of play. That's if we need to go overtime.
Well,
right now it's 14-6.
You never know. Anything can happen in these state finals.
Well, we've had a very exciting last 6 minutes of this second quarter. Schroeder looking to throw, has time, across the middle, incomplete, intended for Mullins.
Well, Steve Schroeder had a lot of time to look for Mullins over the middle. You don't want to give Steve Schroeder too much time, because he can thread the needle. Here goes Steve Schroeder. He's going to have a lot of time back there. He's going to be looking for Chuck Mullins in the middle, crossing pattern. Boom, there you go, almost in his hands.
Mullins made the diving effort, couldn't come up with it. 50 seconds to go. And Summit will punt it away.
As we hear, some of the fans aren't happy with that, the punt. They'd sooner have Summit go for it, being that there's only a couple seconds left in the half. Oh,
and they do go for it. It's the fake. There's a flag on the play. Torres has the first down, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 30, but we've got penalty flags all over the place.
There was some movement in there.
Nobody talk to him. Look at the situation.
Well, had Johnson fooled on that one.
Unsportsmanlike conduct to call.
I wonder how they got. Looks like it may be from on the sidelines. Maybe an unsportsmanlike from someone. I don't really know who that was on, Paul.
Summit is penalized 15 yards, unsportsmanlike conduct.
So it's a 15-yard march off.
I don't know where the unsportsman came from. I'm bamboozled.
The only thing that I saw also at the as the play started, a Summit player jumped on the field, came to the very near sidelines. Now, again, I wouldn't know if that would be illegal participation. Well, obviously, the call is unsportsmanlike conduct. It cost them 15 yards. Schroeder kicks it away. Layden will field it on one hop at the 27, and he's immediately covered up at the 34.
Yeah, he was swarmed by Summit on that one, and Summit has definitely stepped it up these last few moments in his second half.
So with 34 seconds to go, Johnson will take over. They have 2 timeouts should they choose to use them.
Well, I'm sure they just want to go in at halftime and regroup.
Again, just prior to the snap of the punt, a Summit player went on the field and was actually about 10 yards in front of the play, ran back to the line of scrimmage, was set for the snap. Now, again, I'm guessing that might have been the call.
We'll have to find out for the viewers at home.
That's one of those things you rarely find out.
Yes.
First and 10 from the 34.
Nobody wants to take credit for it. And so far, we look at Summit, they're still in that kind of eagle down to the tight end side look. I don't know if they're going to change that in halftime, because that's where Johnson has been going, mainly running the ball. And that's maybe a concern for Summit to look at halftime.
Delay of game moves the ball back 5 yards. We've got 6 seconds now to go in the first half of play. Johnson leading by 8, 14-6.
I'm sure Coach Taylor will have some choice words for his players at halftime.
Well, Johnson got off to a great start with their goal line stand and then the early lead, but Summit has come back thanks in part to the 3 Johnson turnovers. And they'll just take a knee here. Football's most exciting play.
Yes.
To end the first half of action in the North Jersey Section 2 Group 2 State Championship football game. In just a moment, you're going to be entertained by the Summit High School band, but our halftime score is Johnson 14, Summit 6. We'll be right back.
New Eyes for the Needy has been a non-profit organization helping to provide better vision for the poor the world over since 1932. It is the only group in the area which offers eyeglasses to the community, the nation, and to the world. Your donations of old eyeglasses and jewelry enable us to help the less fortunate. So please mail your glasses to New Eyes for the Needy, Short Hills, New Jersey, 07078, or call 201-376-4903.
When you're looking at the difference our car buyers review can make, it gives you the inside track on all of our Eagle models and Warnock Automotive's entire line. Just call 1-800-WARNOCK for your free copy. And soon you'll be saying, at Warnock Jeep Eagle, there really is a difference. When you're looking to buy a new Dodge, experience the difference at Warnock Dodge.
Big advantage in rushing yards. Matter of fact, the passing category, Summit has only completed the one pass, the 42-yard touchdown. 11 first downs for Johnson, 237 total yards. Each team has been penalized twice, and Johnson has the only turnovers in the football game, 3 of those, 1 interception, 2 fumbles.
Be interesting to see what changes both squads made.
Johnson with a 4.5-minute advantage in time of possession.
I'm sure that's one of the things they want to do in the second half is to maintain control of the ball.
Remember that Johnson deferred. 643rd and last is what it should read. 643 games in the broadcast booth for TV3. But this is the last one for me. Going out with the Section 2 Group 2 championship game.
Paul, I am honored to be working with you on your last game.
I hate to say this, but on my first game, you were probably in grammar school. Kicked the long way to Layden. Layden will field it at the 8. He's across the 20. And Layden is dragged down by Peter Torres at the 25-yard line. That is where Johnson will start from here in the second half.
Yeah, we had a lot of fired up Summit Hilltoppers motoring down that field to make the tackle.
14-6 as we start the third quarter. And that is an accurate number, by the way, 643. Shows you how much I've had to do in the last couple of weeks. Anyway, let's start the third quarter of football action at the Johnson 24-yard line. Ray McCran looks on. His defense needs to put in a big performance here at the start of half number 2. And Alefi is stopped immediately at the line, so the Summit defense big on play number 1 of the second half. Joe Chisholm with the hit.
Yeah, they need someone to step up, and Joe Chisholm came in with the big hit.
Chisholm, a 6-foot-tall sophomore.
They look at it just a counter, going to counter in there, and there's Joe Chisholm knocking him down. And this whole Summit squad is fired up.
2nd and 10. Layden split left. Ludek gives it, nope, keeps it. He'll get 4 on the play. And again, the great fake to Menzel.
Yeah, Dan Ludek just going off with a great fake. He's going to keep it himself for the 4-yard pickup. That's one of the advantages that Dan Ludek brings. He's been really, this first half, Paul, I was really bamboozled, if you will, by what he was doing in there. You know, he faked me out up here in the booth, and I'm sure he faked a lot of players from Summit out.
3rd and 6, and that is what makes him such a dangerous quarterback. Showing blitz. Lovell is coming. Ludek still has it, and he goes right to the open field. He's got the first down, the 40. He's at the 50, cuts it back to the middle, dives over one player, finally tripped up by Vincent Martin.
Yeah, that time they caught someone on a blitz, and they made him pay for it because I believe Dan Ludek had the veer call, and he took it himself. He read the whole thing coming, and I'm sure he audibled at the line of scrimmage, something that another feature he brings, and he just takes that down the sideline. Again, a couple of juke moves here. He swings back this way, and he's down the sideline for a nice pickup. And that's one of the dimensions he definitely brings.
28-yard pickup for Dan Ludek.
Yeah, that was a great read by Dan Ludek.
5'10" senior playing in his final high school football game. And again, the quick give to Alefi. And Alefi will have 8, maybe 9 yards up the middle.
Again, just a quick zero-hole dive play up the middle. A real quick handoff to Joe Alefi, real quick up in that gut that Summit's allowing to be open. And Johnson's just exploiting it all day long today.
That is one of the concerns that Ray McCran and the Summit staff had prior to this game, the fact that Johnson is such a quick hitting type of team.
Well, I mean, when you leave and there's a huge gap in there with the defensive line.
Alefi breaks the 100-yard mark on that carry, 2nd and 2. Ludek looking to throw for Layden, incomplete. Layden stopped and went. Ludek threw on the stop.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of a misread from both Layden and Ludek on that one.
And that could have been very dangerous. Mullins had a shot at it.
Mullins had end zone on that one. Here we're going to look at Danny Ludek. A quick pass, going to quick drop, two-yard drop, and just a misread by Layden as well as Ludek. And Chuck Mullins had that one. He could have run all the way for a touchdown and made this game very interesting.
3rd and 2. 9:04 left in the third quarter. Johnson continues to build on their time of possession lead. Menzel pushes the pile forward. He is near the 30, and with that, he will have another Johnson Crusader first down.
Man, that was just a 45 dive, followed the lead of your tackle, Mike Santangelo, and blocked down the linebacker and free some space up for Menzel to plow through for the first down.
Menzel, the leading scorer in Union County, and that's where he will finish. 13th first down for Johnson. Look at that advantage, 13-2.
That's a major difference.
And they are holding on to the football. Fake to Menzel, pitch to Alefi. He kicks it down on the field. Alefi will pick it up and go to the turf just across the 50, but a huge loss. That is a 20-yard loss on the play. Now, Alefi did the right thing by getting the ball and going down. You've got the lead. Don't give up the ball. But that is a huge loss.
Here we're going to look at the great read by Ludak to pitch it out to Alefi. Alefi has a tough time with the pitch from Ludak. Happens to kick his feet, that sends it down the field for about a 20-yard loss.
Now, unfortunately, he booted it back well enough that he could play for Al Zaya's Johnson soccer team, but not what he wanted to do at this point.
Johnson's been successful in both their soccer and football programs this year.
Certainly have been. It's 2nd and 30 for the Crusaders. Ludek looking to throw, has time, guns it for Layden, incomplete. Colin Ballantyne on the coverage. Ballantyne, a 6 foot tall junior. One of the leading tacklers. Came into the game with 56 assisted tackles. Bob Taylor, head coach of Johnson, 4 times won a sectional championship with the then Brearley Bears, 81, 85, 86, and 91. 19 years, 6 MVC titles for the Brearley Bears. On the draw play, Alefi caught from behind by Alfie Critelli. So Summit uses the mishandled pitch play 2 plays ago to stop Johnson cold.
Yeah, that was Alfie Critelli, one of these captains stepping it up and grabbing on Alefi's ankles to bring him down off a little delayed handoff. And Alfie Critelli's going to look at the fake pass, and there's the handoff, the delayed handoff to Alefi, but there's Alfie Critelli bringing him down
and
by
for
his
the
bootstraps.
First time today, Jason Hassler will punt.
This is
and Summit has to use a timeout.
Well, that's very interesting, Paul, because that timeout may be very vital come down to the final moments of the game.
They had 12 men on the field, and they had to get that man off. At that point, see, that's a tough call, because if you're penalized, it's still 4th and 25.
Sure.
But of course, you get into the habit of making sure you force the punt, and you want the extra 5 yards, of course. But again, they use up one of their timeouts, so they will have only 2 left for the remainder of this football game. Coming up 2 weeks from now, on Time In, on December 11th, we're going to be joined by 2 men who have started a publication concerning New Jersey high school basketball called New Jersey Hoops. I'm also going to be joined by the New Jersey Sports Writer of the Year, Mike Moretti, who writes a column about sports collectibles. So that's all coming up on Monday, December 11th at 6:30. You can join us with a call at 636-5333. Remember, this coming Monday, we'll wrap up the high school football season. And then on December 18th, I'll be joined by noted TV sports director Stephen Shepard. We'll be talking about sports coverage in the TV3 area.
What's going on here, Paul?
Well, it looks like they might be going for it, and they are. It's a quick kick to Hassler. This is a weapon that Johnson used often. John Brown looking to field it, and he does pick it up on a hop at the 16-yard line, and he immediately is covered over. So Johnson uses the quick kick often. They use it very well, and Hassler showed it there, kicking
Yeah, that was a good kick.
into the wind.
Very effective. It was a play that I know so well. The old quick kick.
So Summit holds on to the ball for 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
But at the same time, they've pinned Summit deep in their own end zone, and they have a long way to go with that very effective kick by Jason Hassler.
This, by the way, is the third consecutive state final that Summit is playing an unbeaten team. The last 2 years, they knocked off unbeaten Mendham to win the state title, and now they're facing 10-0 Johnson. The pitch to Fouché. Fouché has Lovell in front of him, and Fouché fights to the 20-yard line. That'll be a gain of 6 on the play for Kawan Fouché. As you can see, the shadows start to cover the near sidelines here at Tetlock Field.
And we're going to look at Summit going to be spreading it out to the wide side of the field, taking advantage of some extra room that Johnson's given them because of the splits. But here's Kawan Fouché with the pickup for 8 yards.
Summit playing today without their usual starting center, Ishmael Lamboy. The Rocket, they call him. Sophomore center injured 3 weeks ago. But they've been getting a great performance from the freshman, Darrell Anderson, number 51.
Yeah, that time we saw Johnson in a Will Blitz, what they call a Will Blitz. I just have Frank Menzel power in there through the center, and he created some havoc in that backfield, and there's your tackle.
Summit, 10-1 last year, 11-0 2 seasons ago. They are 8-2 in their 4th consecutive state final. Back in '92, they lost to Dover. There is Schroeder, number 15, and the opposite number, 51, is Darrell Anderson, his center. Fouché needs 2 yards, didn't get him. Tripped up by Tek Sun Kim.
Yeah, we talked about Tek Sun Kim in the beginning of this game and what it meant to the Johnson defense. He gets some penetration from his nose tackle position, just trips up Kawan Fouché in the backfield. Yeah, there's Tek Sun Kim. He's a very good prospect. Coach Taylor feels he's very quick off the ball, one of his assets.
He's caused 7 fumbles this year, the senior has. So Schroeder will punt it away with under 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Key stop for Johnson. We'll tell you why in just a moment. High snap, but Schroeder comes down with it. Booms it with the wind. Fair catch called for by Layden. He'll field it at the Summit 49. The reason I say it was a key defensive series for Johnson, if they can just hold the ball for 4:41, and they certainly have the ability to do that, Summit goes into the wind for the final quarter, and that will be a disadvantage, of course, if they have to throw the ball.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be an important 4 minutes, 41 seconds. If Summit can get the ball back quickly, they've got the wind for the remainder of the 3rd quarter.
Again, when it's this close of a ball game, everything is vital.
So they take over at the Summit 49. Menzel hops over the pile, gets a pair of yards.
There's the Union County point champion. I guess it's safe to say, Paul, we can crown him the champion, being that there's no other teams that are playing.
The only other person who can catch him is his own teammate, Greg Layden. And Layden was well enough behind. Layden came into the game with 72 points, Menzel with 90. So yes, Frank Menzel will win the Union County scoring race this year. Big opening for Alephi, and he's had them all day. And Alephi's got first down yardage and more. He'll take it to the 34. A 13-yard pickup for Joe Alephi.
Dan Ludick is going to pitch it. He's just going to hand it off to Joe Alephi from the dive play position. He's just going to dive to the right side, to the left side, and follow the big hole in there. I tell you, Paul, it's really, I think what Johnson has and what they're bringing is how quick they get to the line of scrimmage is why they're very effective against Summit.
3:40 to go in the 3rd quarter. Alefi again. Gain of 4 this time. Knocked off his feet by Ballantyne and Mullins.
That time we saw a 46 power from Johnson. What that means in layman's terms is the 4-back, Frank Menzel, goes down and kicks out the end, and Joe Alefi follows his lead and goes off the end for some yardage.
By the way, I should take a moment to thank the Summit Football Alumni Association. Got together today, provided us with a nice hot meal before the game, and we always appreciate that. Summit Football Alumni Association, big thank you to them from the TV3 crew. Pickup of 3 on the play. It'll be a 3rd and 4 coming up.
But the clock is still ticking.
Yeah, 2:41 to go. They've already held it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, Johnson's, I mean, we said it time and time again, but Johnson's really making use of the huge hole that they're given in the middle of this in the line of scrimmage.
Big men up front for the Johnson Crusaders. The give to Menzel. Pushes the pile forward. Should be very close to a first down. He had to get to the 24-yard line, and that's just about where he is with 2:12 to go in the 3rd quarter. Matter of fact, close enough so that Ed Strohmeyer will call the chains in.
And I'm sure Coach Taylor will go for it on 4th and short if that to be the case.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And it is first down, Johnson. Johnson is coming out of the 3 position in the seeding. Summit was the top seed. Caldwell, the number 2 seed. Johnson 3, West Essex 4. Summit defeated West Essex 7-0. Johnson defeated Caldwell 14-0. Under 2 minutes to go from the 24. First down. Fake to Menzel, pitch to Alefi. Lots of running room. Inside the 20, the 15. He's got a first down. He's inside the 10. Joe Chisholm finally chases him down from behind, but Joe Alefi carries it inside the 10. We've got an injured Summit player. I believe that is Chisholm. No, I'm sorry, it's Vincent Martin. Martin is the player who's down right now, but he's helped up to his feet.
Here we look at Dan Ludak going to just fake the option, fake the handoff, and here's the option to Joe Alefi, but watch Jeff Lovell. Jeff Lovell's going to come here and close this down quickly, but Joe Alefi just makes a quick juke move, and boom, he's down there for some extra yardage. It's a great athletic play by Joe Alefi.
His knee hits at the 8. 1:42 to go in the 3rd quarter. Johnson possibly puts it away with a score here.
Well, I wouldn't say that, Paul, because we saw with South River and Keensburg a couple weeks ago that nothing's over until the very second.
17th first down for Johnson. Menzel knocked off his feet, gains 2 on the play.
Frank Menzel getting a lot of work in there as well today.
Johnson with over an 11-minute advantage in time of possession. You can't score if you don't have the football, and Johnson is showing us just that today.
Yes,
1 minute to go, 3rd quarter. 2nd and goal from the 6. Frank Menzel with a pair of touchdowns today, 12 carries. Alefi gets a big block for Menzel, reaches for the end zone, and he's in. 20-6.
And Joey Alefi just stretched that ball over the end zone, stretched it out, and there's the touchdown.
6-yard touchdown run for Joe Alefi, his 5th rushing score of the year. And it is 20-6 with 45 seconds to go. What an afternoon for Joe Alefi. 19 carries, 130 yards.
I think that will put the icing on the cake, Paul.
Hassler looking for the point. And this time he puts it through.
There we go. We got Dan Ludak going to be just handing it off to Joe Aleffi. Joe Aleffi gets a great block by Frank Menzel, kicks out the end, and Joe Aleffi just stretches that ball through, and that is it. There's the touchdown.
49 yards and 8 plays. That was for 6 yards.
Johnson scoring drive, 10 plays, 49 yards. Aleffi scoring the touchdown. And the drive consumed 3 minutes and 56 seconds.
It is, anything can happen in the fourth quarter, Paul, but again, with how Summit has been moving the ball today, I think they're going to have a tough test in this fourth quarter. Again, anything can happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but again, the two factors working against Summit at this point. Number one, Johnson's only given up the 4 scores all year.
Right.
Number two, Summit's going to have to throw, and they're going to have to throw into the wind.
That's correct. I mean, again, it's not a lost ball game for either side, but again, it's a tough road ahead for Summit.
Well, they need a good return here to help break the ice a little bit. They're going to get a short kick. Fouché has trouble with it and finally covers up on the 30-yard line.
That was close. That was close.
Eric Gerstner for Johnson was awfully close to diving on the free football. So the Hilltoppers will start from their own 30-yard line. And they only have 40 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
Well, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of spread the defense passing from Steve Schroeder to get some major yardage quickly.
Fake to Fouché. Menzel chasing Schroeder. Throws on the run to Torres. And Torres has it for a 17-yard completion.
Yeah, it was just a great fake by Steve Schroeder. Rolls out left, bootleg. See, finds his receiver, Peter Torres, down the field. Here we go, the great fake by Steve Schroeder. Keeps it on his hip. And there's he looks for Peter Torres, wide open down there. And they're spreading defense for Johnson. Maybe this ball game is certainly not over, Paul.
20 seconds to go, third quarter. I'm Paul Spahala, with me Patrick Olenek. You're watching the Section 2 Group 2 Championship game. Also on TV3, you will see in the next week or so the Section 2 Group 4 Championship game, Montclair against Morris Knolls, and also the Central Group 1 final, South River versus Highland Park. The delay for an injured player, Joe Aleffi, for Johnson, helped off right next to the sidelines. And I'm sure we will see Joe back in the ball game. Clock is on the move. 13 seconds to go in the quarter. Forced from the pocket by Radziniak. Schroeder throws. Intercepted by Layden at the 17. He's tackled at the 15 for Greg Layden, his 7th interception this season.
Yeah, that was all set up by the pressure from Ray Radziniak, getting in on Steve Schroeder, forcing him out of the pocket, and then Greg Layden pulls it down for the interception.
So Johnson will start the fourth quarter with possession. We will take a break right now, and the score of the sectional final, Johnson 21, Summit 6.
When you're looking to buy a new Chevrolet, experience the difference at Warnock Chevrolet Geo. The difference in selection, the difference in service, the difference in price, and the difference our car buyers review can make. It gives you the inside track on all of our Chevrolet models.
From what they hope will be their first ever playoff championship. They are recipients of 2 state championships, but that was back under the old Colliton PowerPoint system back in '69 and '70 in Section 2 Group 3. So this could be their first ever Section 2 Group 2 state championship.
Well, I'm sure someone would like to see some fumbles popped up early in this fourth quarter, as they saw in the beginning moments of the second quarter.
And Dan Ludek sees an alignment he's not comfortable with, so he calls a timeout. By the way, time of possession through 3 quarters. Johnson, 23 minutes. Summit, 13 minutes. And I'm not even going to wonder how our crack TV3 sports crew got a camera on the far side of the field. Through 3 quarters, here's the stats in the football game, and you will see, of course, a big advantage for Johnson. 239 rushing yards, 315 total yards. First down advantage, 17-3. And Summit limited so far to just 59 yards in the air, but you can bet that when they get the ball back, they will be headed up top here in the fourth quarter.
No question what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to spread the defense and throw it long. You know, but we look at that turnovers from Johnson. I mean, that could have played a major key in this ball game for Summit on the other end.
Ray McCran comes back from his team's huddle. Summit only lost twice this year. The second game of the season, they were shut out by Linden, 7-0. And last, well, Thanksgiving Day, they were beaten by Irvington, 22-6. Menzel stopped at the line. Mullins and Schroeder cover him. Of course, we'd like to thank the respective athletic directors, Howie Anderson here at Summit as our host for today, and also Tom Santaguida of Johnson Regional for their cooperation in letting us cover this Section 2 Group 2 championship. We'd like to thank the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association for accepting our check of $275 to cover this game. 2nd and 10 from the 15-yard line. Alefi still going. He's across the 30, knocked down at the 35. A 21-yard pickup for Joe Alefi.
That's been the play that's been fooling everybody. Just a quick counter dive. We're going to see Ludek just quick pass, spin around, delay handoff to a Joe Alefi. But we're going to watch in this screen. We're going to see Dan Guzovich is following down the lead. He's downfield, making the block. He's 15 yards upfield. And that's just a great effort by Dan Guzovich to get downfield and make a block.
Yeah, real good point, because you generally do not see linemen that far downfield, but Guzovich was there, and that has helped Alefi to 171 rushing yards. And he's got the ball again. And he'll have an additional 4 yards. He is closing in on a 200-yard ground game.
I'm sure he's going to get it before the end of the day.
This is a Johnson team that has scored 423 points this year. There is the truck air horn. That's been making a lot of noise for the Crusaders. Under 10 minutes to go in the sectional final. Alefi loses the ball, and Critelli comes up with it for Summit. The 4th turnover of the football game, and the 2nd time that Alfie Critelli has come up with the ball.
That's a big turnover with such a lot of time left in this 4th quarter. We're going to look at it. Alfie Critelli going to make the pop and bring this ball free. There's Alfie Critelli going to bring that in. That was actually Jeff Lavelle made the hit on the ball. It's knocked it free, and Alfie Critelli just pounced on it.
So they will take over at the Johnson 45.
It's a major change of events. What do you think, Paul? We'll see a flea flicker before the end of the game?
Yeah, I don't know if they'll go back to that one yet. Torres in motion to the far side of the field. Schroeder on the screen to Fouché, immediately read by Rossetti. Carmine Rossetti was there. He had responsibility for Fouché. It's a loss of 10 yards on the reception.
Yeah, that was a setup screen play. Steve Schroeder just dropping back, brings the defense, keeps them coming. Look at Steve Schroeder dropping back and to keep the big dogs from Johnson coming. Brings him, and then he's looking for Fouché out there on the dump pass to the left, and there's the bring down by Rossetti.
Carmine Rossetti. With the tackle. Rossetti, a 6'1" senior. Schroeder's pass knocked down.
Nick DeCorso on the block down. Had his hands up. Now he's a big guy himself. He's 6'1", 160. But with his hands up, he created a big wall. Knocked it down. Right now it looks like Johnson's stepping it up.
Rossetti had come into this game with 5 sacks, 1 interception. And the 6'1" senior wearing number 82 with the big tackle on that screen pass. It's 3rd and 20. Out of the shotgun. Pressure applied by Hassler, and Schroeder is sacked for a loss of 4. Tek-Sun Kim had him by the ankles, and also looks like Gunter Kreizon had him.
That was Jason Hassler on a cornerback blitz, and he just had full force at Steve Schroeder, had a full outlet towards him, and he created some havoc and made Schroeder step up into the pocket, and then a whole host of Johnson players came down to bring him down. Here we go, there's the cornerback blitz by Hassler, and then there's the host of players, Kreizon and the whole Johnson squad in there.
6th punt coming up for Steve Schroeder. Averaging 34 yards a kick coming into the game. Kicks it into the wind, gets off a good kick considering the conditions. And the ball is finally down at the Johnson 36.
Wow, that wind really took effect on that ball, Paul. I mean, that thing just hit a brick wall and came back. It was a close call because it almost hit a Johnson receiver down there.
There you see the flag at the right side, the eastern end of Tatlock Field, blowing away from us. Bob Taylor and his staff. 7 minutes, 22 seconds away from the first ever playoff championship at Arthur L. Johnson Regional High School. Joe Aleffi. Rest of the Johnson staff: Vinny Albano, Lou Delapia, Mike Mancino, Carl Peterson, Steve Shofi, Steve Washuta.
Yeah, Paul, good story about Vinny Albano. He's been wearing this hat that he wears so for his whole coaching career, it seems. Wears it in every game. It's really decrepit, it's really old, but he still wears it. It's got a lot of luck into it. He still firmly believes that when he wears it, he wins.
So far, it's brought him good luck today.
Yes, it has.
6:34 to go. That little spin play that's worked so effectively all day, shut down this time by Summit. They'll bring up a 3rd, and we'll call it 6. Coach Albano standing next to Steve Shofi near the first down marker.
Well,
that is an old hat.
It certainly is. Matter of fact, there's many stories that go along with that hat. I think believe he lost that hat again when he was playing in Hillside, and I guess nobody knew where the hat was, and then sure enough, it turned up a couple weeks later. And I mean, anybody else would have just threw it out, but that hat really means something.
Under 6 minutes now. 3rd and 6. Key play in this ball game. And they stop Aleffi right at the line of scrimmage. Joe Chisholm.
Now it comes down to clock management, when and when not to use your timeouts to make the most of your time. Now wouldn't be a bad time. 4th down. I'm sure Johnson will just let it run out.
Frank Menzel apparently stretching out, maybe a leg cramp. Getting ready to go back on the field on defense. Johnson will line up as if they're going to go for it. Remember, Hassler is in the ball game. They do quick kick out of this formation. Pitch back to Hassler, and he will quick kick it. Floats it up. Brown chasing it. It's over his head. And it will stop at the 25, where Nick Corso will down it. So Summit will have 75 yards to go. And remember, they still need 2 scores in this one. Johnson, 6 in the first, 8 in the second, 7 in the third. Summit's lone score, the 42-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter. First and 10 from the 25. Expect to see the Hilltoppers go in the air. They've got to. They've only got 4:42. They need 2 scores. Blitz is on from Hassler, forcing Schroeder from the pocket. Schroeder throws on the run to Jamal Stewart, and Stewart pulls it in at the Johnson 42.
He was wide open. He's threaded the needle, and Jamal Stewart was there. They caught Johnson on a blitz. And this is bringing life to Summit. They can get one in here quick, and then they get the ball back.
Kevin Schmidt back in the ball game. You see he's given the play to Steve Schroeder. Schmidt caught his second touchdown pass of the year earlier in the ball game. That is the only score that Summit has today. Schmidt split left along with Kawan Fouché. Jeff Lovell, a lone man in the backfield. He is there to block. Schroeder rolling left, wants to throw across the green. Completes it to Mullins on the tight end screen. And Mullins will have 9 yards, maybe 10. It will be close to a Summit first down with 4:04 left in the ball game.
Here we go. Look at a little screen play. Steve Schroeder dropping back. This is a call play, a screen play out, and he's got the blocking of Martin Weathers down there.
Chains will come in.
This is a major series for Summit. Don't need to be said, but might as well say it.
We'll stretch it out.
That's a first down.
And it is a Hilltopper new series. First championship for Summit back in 1954. That was in Section 2, Group 3. They actually shared it with Linden. Of their 11 state titles, 8 of them came in Section 2, Group 3. Schroeder today 5 of 12, 92 yards. Rolling left, forced from the pocket, and Ray Radziniak will drop him. Ray Radziniak, 6'4" senior, only 16 years old, and college scouts are drooling over the skills of Ray Radziniak. His 6th sack of the year.
We're going to look at Steve Schroeder, going to be dropping back, but here we go. He's just Radziniak, just going to keep him forcing him out, forcing him back. Steve Schroeder just can't do nothing with it when you got Ray Radziniak, and there's Ray Radziniak with the sack in the backfield. But we talk about Ray Radziniak, Paul. I mean, he's highly touted scout-wise. I mean, we're looking at Clemson. He's looking at Maryland. He got Kansas. He's got offers from all over the country, and he's a good one. And he's only 16 years old, believe it or not. And
college scouts are saying, boy, if we redshirt him, which is more than likely to happen, we'll have him for 5 years at our school. We can bulk him up a little bit. Not that he needs much at 6'4", 260. But again, lots of colleges are interested in the skills of Ray Radziniak.
Yeah, he's very similar to a Todd Berger who went to Johnson and who now plays for the Chicago Bears. Very similar in size.
It will be 2nd down and 23 to go for the Hilltoppers. Summit coaching staff trying to pull this one out. Jim Dietz, Phil Krug, Sean Dowling, John Cratch, Paul Fleming. 3:35 left in the football game. Johnson has held the ball for 10 minutes more than Summit. That, almost as much as anything, has been a key factor in this ball game. Schroeder has some time, stays in the pocket, throws short, intended for Schmidt.
Well, it's going to come down to clock management, Paul. We got to keep Schroeder's got to complete passes that are going to force the people out of bounds to stop the clock, because there's only 3 minutes and 30 seconds left, and they need 2 scores.
Of course, the clock did stop, of course, with the incompletion, but also now we have a timeout to care for Tech-Sun Kim. Kim, we talked about him during the Roselle Park game. Somewhat new to the game of football, only been playing for a few years, but has certainly put together a great season this year for the Johnson Crusaders.
That he has. He's very quick off the ball, and he's very good. And I know we talked from the beginning of what the battle up front would mean with him as a nose tackle versus, I guess, a first-time starting center.
He wants to stay in the ball game. But, of course, because of the stop of the clock, he has to come out for at least the one play. But that's the kind of spirit that Tech's son Kim has. I want to play more, Coach.
Tech, you light it up all day.
That battle in the middle really didn't transpire as we thought it may have. And
coaches love to have players like that. But, Coach, it's only one broken leg. I can use the other one. Schroeder looking to throw. Going down again. That'll be the third sack. We've got a flag thrown on the play. Nick DeCorso with the sack. Well, the penalty will be against Johnson, so the Summit drive will stay alive.
Depends what it is. It's a big one. Looks like a face mask.
Johnson realized 15 yards. Driving the face
Ed Strohmeyer will give us the call. And it is a face mask penalty against Johnson.
Nick DeCorso, when he took him down, had his hand on the mask, and you don't want to see that happen.
So it'll be third down still, 3rd and 14. Only the third penalty against Johnson today. It's one of the ways to win a title. Don't hurt yourself with penalties. Oddly enough, they've had the turnovers, but none that really have hurt them. Well, the one resulted in a Summit score. Schroeder throwing against the grain. Tight end screen for Mullins, and Alephi wraps him up, and Joe Alephi has played a whale of a football game today on both sides of the ball for the Crusaders.
Yes, he has. While everyone was keying on some of the other people that people know, like Menzel, but this Alephi really stepped it up, and we're going to see it. Nick DeCorso going to be applying some pressure from the onside, and here we go to the screen, but Joe Alephi's got this one sniffed out.
He beat two blockers.
Yes, he did. Right through the seam. Brings him down.
Timeout, Summit.
And there we go. You've seen Tech some kin on that last one as well. I guess he's not hurt.
He was back in the ball game, helped on the tackle there. But I tell you, Joe Alephi has played an outstanding football game.
Yes, he has.
No doubt about it. We're going to think about his offense today. He's closing in on 200 rushing yards. He's got a touchdown.
He's made some key tackles at the right moment.
21-6 the score. Johnson with the lead, hoping to capture their first ever playoff championship. In addition to, of course, winning the Mountain Division of the Mountain Valley Conference this year. They were Mountain Valley Division champs in 91 and 95, Mountain champs in 87.
Will, let's get after it, damn it. Let's get a hand right in his face. Let's go. You're outside. Let's go.
And Coach Taylor's very intense in there.
No doubt about it. He is the most active coach that I have seen in my 643 games.
I would say so, because I mean, he's even before the ball game, he's directing cheerleaders, he's directing everybody. I'm sure he's out at the end of this ball game directing traffic too.
And he'll be directing the post-game show. You know he wants everybody in Steve Schroeder's face. There are at least two men in motion for Summit.
You know, Paul, all things aside, I think if the things turn out the way they're going to turn out, it seems, the big series, the big play that we can look towards is the opening moments of the ball game. They had Johnson down on their luck because of a long kickoff return by John Brown, but when Johnson stepped up to the call and stopped Summit short, going into the end zone, that's probably the major role in this entire ball game.
Patrick, I agree with you. It's hard for people to imagine, but this game was decided at 5 minutes after 1. I mean, when you really think about it, Schroeder looking to throw, forced from the pocket, and is finally wrapped up by Jason Hassler. And on downs, Johnson will take over with 2 minutes and 27 seconds to go.
Because, I know we were talking about that moment, but if we look back at that, if they don't stop Summit, Johnson starts doubting themselves, and this ballgame could have very well be changed around dramatically.
If you weren't with us, John Brown took the opening kickoff, fielded at about his own 15. 75 yards later, he was brought down just shy of the Johnson 10. 4 plays later, Johnson stopped Summit on a 4th and inches from inside the 1, turned the ball over, from that point on, Johnson has really controlled the football and the game.
Yes, they have.
Summit had a chance to break out on top, something that has never happened to Johnson all year in 11 games. Johnson took the 14-0 lead and has held it since then. We've got a penalty on the Crusaders, might be delay of game, and that's what it is with under 2 minutes to go in the football game.
Well, I mean, Summit definitely came down here and gave all they had. I mean, they are the defending champions, and they fought their crown well.
Yeah, quite a run for Summit. 4th time in the final, 2 times as the champion, knocking off Mendham in a great game 2 years ago. Tremendous finish here at Tatlock Field. And then last year just winning that game wire to wire against Mendham. A tremendous win last year. But this year it is the Johnson Crusaders winning their first ever sectional title in the playoffs. Frank Menzel carries it across the 50.
They beat Mendham last year 26-8. But again, you know, Paul, I mean, again, when you're the defending champion, a lot of teams play up to play you because you are the champion. And for someone to make it back 4 years, you know, after being in the playoffs, after being the defending champion, that's a credit to them just to be here again.
4 years in a row in the final, 12 times in the playoffs in 21 years, a tremendous program at Summit. But it will be the Johnson Crusaders who will go home with the hardware today. They give to Menzel. Summit has no timeouts left. So all Johnson has to do with 3rd and 3 is to make a first down, and they can watch the clock run out.
And I think
Taek-Sun Kim watching from the sidelines.
I think this season comes down to 6-6-6-6. And that's all Summit, that's all Johnson has allowed this entire season is 6 points every time they've allowed points.
2 of those times, Hillside and Roselle Park, came on the last play of the ball game. Newark Central was in the 4th quarter, and Summit came here late in the first half.
I guess it was destined that 6 points would be, that's what Summit would have at the end of this ball game today.
Menzel has enough for the first down, and that will do it with 20 seconds to go. As soon as we get a spot, the clock will start, and the Crusaders will not even have to snap it, and they will win the Section 2 Group 2 crown. And the clock is on the move. Bob Taylor will win his 5th sectional title as a coach, the first ever at Johnson Regional.
It'll be his second 11-0 campaign for a state title.
Ray McCran and Bob Taylor meet at midfield, and it is the players from Johnson Regional High School in Clark who celebrate the Section 2 Group 2 championship game. The final score, Johnson 21, Summit 6. We'll be back down on the field to wrap this one up with our post-game show right after this.
If I move next door, don't move away. I am just like you.
The Section 2 Group 2 State Championship football game, the Johnson Crusaders complete the 11-0 season. And Frank Menzel, that must sound real good right now, 11-0.
Oh yeah, it sounds great.
Take us back to those hot days of practice back in August when the drought was there and it was a long way off. Did the team talk about, after losing in the state playoffs last year by 1 point, the thought about, hey, we've got what it takes to get back there?
Yeah, we started talking about that last year when we lost that game on the bus ride home. We knew we could do it.
Controlling the ball today was a key factor in this football game. You had almost 30 minutes time of possession. Tell me a little bit about the offensive line for your club, because they did the job all season long.
Yeah, they did. They played great all season. They played the same today. You know, they were playing great out there.
And by the way, congratulations to you with your 2 touchdowns today. You will finish as Union County's leading scorer.
Hey, Frank.
Frank.
Thanks a lot.
Frank, congratulations on a great performance today. Let's talk about the fellow you had in the backfield with you, Joe Aleffi. Joe, what a game today. Our stats have you as 183 rushing yards today. A great performance, and a lot of those on that quick opening play. Tell us a lot about that play, because that was one of the things that the Summit coaches told us they were worried about, the fact that you guys hit so quick to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, coaches watched the film all week, stayed up late watching. They found that if I could hit the hole quick right up the middle, and there wouldn't be anyone there to stop me. So we just planned to do that, and it worked out. Also, another play that worked real well was the play where Dan would fake the pass and then do that little pirouette move and give it to you. It looked like a slow developing play, but it was always open. Yeah, that was a new play this week. Dan does a good job of faking it, and then they all rush up, and I just had to run through as quick as I could, and the lineman did a great job.
You had over 20 carries today coming into the game today on the bus ride over. Did the coach give you any indication that you were going to get the ball that often today?
Well, Frank is such a good back. We knew they were going to be keen on him, so I just had to be ready, and if I had any opportunities, I would just take it.
All right, Joe, thanks very much for coming by. Congratulations on a great performance. Bob Taylor. Bob, and the rest of the coaches, come on in here, fellas.
Come on in, guys.
Setting up the group picture here. Coach Taylor, what a performance by this club today. We talked about the fact that you guys had almost 30 minutes time of possession. And when the other team doesn't have the ball, doesn't matter how good they run or throw it, they can't score. And that's exactly what the Crusaders did today.
Well, this was a great game for us in establishing respect for our program. We felt like we had to come in and play physical ball. They come from a different conference where they think they play physical ball. We had to command the line of scrimmage and command the hitting level right away. That was our goal, and I think we accomplished that. I think it's very important for everyone to know that the family unity of this team and all is created by the great job that the coaches have done. This has been a tremendous ride for us, but it didn't just happen. You know, a game like Joey, he had to step it up today. It was his turn, and we tell him every week somebody else has got to step up. And you're going to find that there's a lot of other great performances in this game today, just as it's been all year long.
No doubt about it, there were some great performances, but we in the media like to make stories out of things, and there's no doubt about it that, in our opinion, this game was won at 5 minutes after 1, because after John Brown returns the kickoff and they're starting from the 10-yard line, they could have put you behind for the first time all season, but the defense rose to the challenge, stopped them on 4 downs.
You know, we told the guys before we left the school, state championship games always have some type of adversity in them. We're going to have to overcome something today, and I think we got the idea pretty quickly here. But we were able to overcome it, and I think that's the important thing. These guys don't quit. We were ready to go to the last tick of the clock. If we had to go overtime, we'd have been ready for that. There was a lot of pride on the line here today. And, you know, I think people got to wake up and take a look at this team and realize this is one of the finest teams in the state of New Jersey this year.
Now, somebody asked me from the truck who knows you a long time ago from your Brearley days when you had to march around the boulevard after a big win. Where are they going to walk around in Clark today?
They're going to walk around awful proud wherever they go, I'll tell you that.
You did it on the road. When we talked at the Roselle Park game, you said you'd go anywhere to play the state championship. You did. You won. Congratulations.
Well, you know, this is a great place to play football. There's a lot of tradition here in Summit. They love their football. And we came here, and I think we showed very proudly against the Summit Club. And I just have to say, personally, knowing that, you know, the great job that you've done for us in your commentary over the years, and knowing that this is your last game breaks our heart as high school football fans. Thank you for all the jobs that you've done for all of our area football over the years, Paul.
Bob, I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. Fellas, thank you very much. Patrick, let's get you in here to wrap this one up. Patrick Olenek joins you now right now, and Patrick, what a performance for this club. And what a performance in the first 5 minutes, just when it looked like Summit was going to take the first lead ever against Johnson all season long. The defense, which has been so strong all season, gave the Crusaders the ball back.
I mean, state championships are won with great players, and Johnson this year being 11-0 have a plethora of great players. And when they stepped it up in that first 5 minutes of this ball game, when they were down and they were down against this end zone that we're watching right now, this is when the state championship was won, and that's the moment in time that they'll look forward to when it comes down to who won the state championship. It was a group of guys who stuck together as a team, and they won this championship together.
But what a performance by a guy who didn't get as many headlines as some of the other players all year, but Joe Aleffi just really did it all on defense, but particularly on offense.
Well, I mean, obviously they were keying on Frank Menzel, but when Joe Aleffi stepped up to the plate when they needed someone to step up, Joe Aleffi was there. Not only did he step up offensively, but defensively made a lot of key plays which really shifted Johnson towards their state championship victory today.
That'll do it for our coverage of the North Jersey Section 2 Group 2